All right, recording. There we go. Fuck. I put the camera on, but it's so fucking dark, and I look like shit. It's 6:30 a.m. My time, and
Yeah,
I'm fucking
I think it's at
so
11 or something. But it's not late.
yeah. I
At
don't know
least,
if it was worth staying up for that card.
yeah, I know. I said I feel like the London cars are progressively getting worse as time goes on. From like when they first came back in the March card, I think last year. Since then, it keeps getting worse, and that's what it seems like.
I like fell asleep during the Jai Herbert fight like 2 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm no bad enough for me to fall asleep, but yeah, definitely a bit fucking uneventful.
Yeah, there was some good fights though. The fucking Paul Craig, like he stole the show, like
Yeah.
generally stole the fucking show.
No, 100%. I didn't even think Paul Craig was what he went, to be honest. I picked my knees by decision, I think. But yeah, Paul Craig, maybe middleweight is the fucking right division for him after all, so we'll see. But no, I was definitely happy for him. And now
Yeah,
he's ranked at 2 weight classes as well.
yeah, fucking he looked amazing. I don't think he's ever gotten a proper takedown before in his life at
Yeah,
like heavyweight.
yeah. I know. I know. I actually seen him press through and drive through to get someone down multiple times in a fight. Was a bit of a starting difference. Maybe that's got something to do with the weight cut, maybe a bit light or something differently. I don't know what the specific of it was, but yeah, definitely looked a bit improved on the feet, a bit more confident as well, which I wasn't expecting because of the weight cut.
Yeah, maybe him getting chinned all them times at light heavyweight was mostly because like everyone's so much fucking bigger than him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy. If you're Paul Craig is a big, tall guy, but he's not like massively filled out. He's quite skinny. But it was a bit more, it was a bit more chiseled. If you look at his abs in that in middleweight compared to when he was light heavy, it was a bit more filled out. It was a bit more in shape. And it's kind of the weight cut kind of forces you to do that anyway and become more disciplined.
Yeah, I was fucking shocked. He looked so much better than I thought he would. I
Yeah,
sort of had a feeling he was going to win though after I seen him weigh in. So I was expecting to see him like looking like fucking featherweight McGregor, but he didn't look too depleted. So I had a feeling he was going to win that.
yeah, no, it looked way better than he should have when you consider whatever the rumor is true that he weighed in at 218 on Fight Night. I don't know whether that's true or not, but if that's true, then I don't know how he kept making light heavyweight, never mind middleweight, all them times. But if he played out in the end, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, fucking. It seems like him at middleweight is a bit of a cheat code, like
Mm.
because he seems more durable as well. Like he took some big shots on the chin and he didn't get rocked at all. I guess maybe Meniz isn't the most powerful guy, but still.
Yeah, but he definitely puts himself in the mix. Though he puts himself in that Brendan Allen level. Like I said, now he's got to be ranked at middleweight. And from what he said he wants to fight between middleweight and light heavyweight whenever just he feels like a matchup's available that he likes. So if that's what they do, then he's got a place in the rankings now in both divisions. So he's got whatever he wants to do next.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like him doing that though. Like going between weight classes, a bit risky.
Yeah, especially the weight cut back and forth at his age could be a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to see him stay at middleweight just because he looks so fucking good today.
What do you think of Molly McCann's performance?
Oh my god, yeah, that was a bit shocking.
A little bit, yeah, against a 10-8 opponent, I believe, Julia Stolarenko. A little bit underwhelming. A little bit, yeah. Not the best, what can I say?
Yeah, she sort of beat her like better than maybe not as dominantly, but
Yeah.
quicker than fucking
Quicker.
Aaron Black
Yeah.
Blanchfield.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get how her only UFC wins are Jessica Rose Clark and Molly McCann. And like you said, she beat her quicker than Blanchfield did. So I don't know. Do you remember McCann was like teasing retirement when she lost to Procopio in the Apex, but then she never really fell through in that. She came back and she went a win streak. But now, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do next for her because if you can't beat Stoliarenko, then it's looking a bit, risky going forward.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird case. Maybe story, Julia. Maybe she's just like because all of her fights before are at such heavier weight classes. Maybe she's just found that perfect weight class now.
So, because usually struggle making other weight classes, and I mean this one. So it's weird to see her do pretty decently. But yeah, it was a tough one because the crowd were fucking all in from all they can, and then the co-main event it got shut down pretty quickly. Yeah.
I know it. Literally, you could hear a pin drop. There was literally like fucking pure silence on the broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what about Aspinall then? The main event, fucking great fucking win. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, that was a fucking that fight sort of went exactly how I thought it was. I thought Tybura was just going to run through I mean, I thought Aspinall
Yeah.
was just going to through Tybura.
Yeah, I picked Aspinall by first round TKO as well. I didn't think he would like drop him badly. I thought kind of like maybe elbow him against the cage and then get him down and just ground and pound him. But I didn't think he would just shut him down, big punch in the feet to start it with. Because Tybura doesn't get hot like that anymore. He used to get done like that quite a bit, but in recent years he's been quite tough to do like that. Like Volkov couldn't do it to him at all.
Yeah, Tybura had fucking nothing for him. Aspinall was just way too fast for him. Like he didn't. He stated the broadcast said that Tybura didn't land a single strike in that fight.
I mean, there was the one exchange earlier where they kind of went back and forth for a couple of punches, but other than that, it was pretty fucking dominant, pretty clean, and very. I don't even know how long it was. It was like it couldn't have been longer than 2 minutes. The fight was really quick.
Yeah, minute 13 apparently. Yeah, so
I mean,
it seems like. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
I mean, I was going to say it's not like it was like the toughest comeback, but it's Tybura. People know like Tybura is solid, and he makes it tricky for a lot of guys. Like he made Volkov really work for it in their fight, and he made it tough for him. And Aspinall running through him like that does say that he is at that level, even after the layoff that we knew that he was at before then. So it was just a bit of like reassurance, I guess you could say, of where Aspinall's at in the division.
I think also Aspinall seems to do really good against these like big dominant grapplers as well, because he got Spivak out of there pretty quickly, and then he did the exact same thing to Tybura. So
they beat Spivak really. That's a win that continues to age really well. We'll see, because I called out the winner of Spivak and Gan. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not much interested in seeing him versus Spivak again with how dominant the first fight was. But him versus Gan for the past couple of years has been like the fight at heavyweight between the two up and comers. Kind of different styles, different areas to succeed in. And yeah, that's the fucking fight I want to see on a heavyweight. Aspinall versus Gan.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not really too interested in a Spivak rematch.
Yeah.
If looking at if Spivak does end up winning, I'd rather see Aspinall versus like a maybe. I was going to say the winner of Tuivasa versus Volkov, but then again, I also don't want to see a Volkov rematch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky situation here. So I'm relying on Garn to win this fight against Spivak because I really want to see Garn versus Aspinall.
Same. I mean, depending on what happens with Blades and Almeida, it's definitely a good thing to run back Aspinall and Blades just to show that he can get that done, rather than have that as an asterisk for the rest of his career. Could he ever have beaten Blades? So if whatever happens there, a win over Blades or a win over Almeida, it's just a good look for him in the meantime for whatever happens on 2024.
Yeah, definitely. That is a rematch I'd like to see, him versus Blades, because we really didn't get any answers in that fight.
Yeah, exactly. So what else on the card? Do you want to talk about any of the big moments and anything?
Let's look. My memory's a little phasey at the moment.
So there was Wood, Nathaniel Wood, Andre Fili was the feature fight, which is probably the best actual fight all the way through.
That was a crazy fight. Philly drops him early, and then Wood drops him even better, and takes the first round. The second round, Wood starts it off rocking Philly, and then Philly knocks him down. Like,
yeah, Nathaniel Wood's chin was a concern just because the John Dodson fight, and I was not fight as well. Got dropped him into Winslow, but yeah, moving up gave me a bit more confidence. I didn't have to cut that weight, but still, then Philly. I mean, Philly's good, but Philly's underrated, very underrated. But no, Wood a good performance, man. But I don't know where his level's got to be at because he's still decently young as well. But I don't really know how I want to see Wood fight next.
Yeah, Philly is like super underrated, and also Max Holloway said he's the hardest hitter he's ever fought. So,
I mean, I'm not going to doubt him on saying that, but yeah, that's definitely not like a. If you ask me who's the hardest hitter Max Holloway's ever fought, I wouldn't have said Philly, but yeah, fair enough because he doesn't get a lot of knockouts. That's the thing. Like he knocked out that guy that's in the PFL now, the Brazilian guy, who's used to beat as well. Shaman Rise, they knocked out Shaman Rise with a head kick, I think. And then he was beating up Pineda, but didn't finish him. But he was schooling him as well. But yeah, Philly ain't known for like one punch KO power. You get hit by Philly, you go down no matter what. But yeah, no, he's a dangerous guy, man. But Wood showed out, came back after a couple of times of showing adversity and stuff like that, going through adversity, getting dropped. And yeah, definitely big improvements.
What did you think of the Davey Grant Daniel Marcos decision?
I had Davey Grant, but to be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed because that was like one of the first times recently that I'd watched a Davey Grant fight and it wasn't fucking crazy all the way through. Davey Grant typically, I know their Sunsui fight wasn't great to start with, but even the end of that was fucking made up for it. So crazy. But typically David Grant fights, the shit that he does, it seems like he was really reserved in that fight. I don't know why, if it was like the first time he'd fought in a crowd, in front of a big crowd for a really long time. Like, last time he fought in front of a crowd probably would have been, I think, the Popov fight or something, which was like 2019, a really long time ago. So I don't know if that got to him a bit, and it was in his home country as well. But yeah, David Grant didn't look as what did they expect him recently, so he had a bit of an off night, I think.
But also at the same time, Daniel Marcos was just like, he wasn't doing anything. Like, he
Yeah.
wasn't pressuring or anything. He was just sitting back pretty much, wasn't being too aggressive. So I guess David Grant didn't really have much to do.
Yeah, a bit underwhelming for both of them. From what we expected from like David Grant and a guy who was like 14-0, but they definitely expected a bit more of a fight. But yeah, it wasn't great. Especially when it got added in the main card last minute. I was expecting a bit more, but yeah, I didn't agree with the decision either, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought David Grant could have won that 30-27.
Yeah, I had Grant 2-1, but I wouldn't have been against a 30-27, to be honest.
And then what did you think of Danny Roberts versus Johnny Parsons?
The most fucking Danny Roberts fight that's ever existed in history. Well, I don't know, man.
He was winning that fight. He was getting like, he was actually rocking Parsons, and then he just went full fucking like Max Holloway versus Ricardo Lamas,
Yeah.
and got fucking rocked. And then he just didn't cover.
I don't know why I decided to start trading with him in the pocket. I was screaming at my TV, man, like, stop swinging in the pocket with him. This will never end well with you, Danny Roberts. I feel bad for him because he's a technically quite sound fighter, but just that chin is something you can't train, really. You can't get out of it. You can't get a better chin over time, really. There's nothing that's been proven to work anyway. And he's like 35 now, so it's like just the kind of the end of Danny Roberts. To be honest, it's quite sad to see, especially because Parsons ain't great either. To be honest, that was kind of rough. And yeah, because I picked him to win, I thought it was like there's a level where Roberts can beat them, and he was beating him, but then he just made a bad decision. Just chose to just start swinging with him in the pocket. I don't know why. We're not basically just giving Parsons the best chance he has to win on a silver platter. But yeah, definitely frustrating him. Quite unfortunate for Danny Roberts.
And then there was a really weird call out from Johnny Parsons where he called out Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, just never going to happen ever. Like, never going to happen. Like, Johnny Parsons, even now, is not a known name. Like, before this fight, if you go up to like the average MMA fan and you tell him Danny Roberts is fighting Johnny Parsons, you would get a dead look back in your face because people did not know who he was, because he hadn't fought in so long, and his only fight was on the Contender Series, and he only had one scheduled fight, and it was against fucking Michael Gilmore, who people know even less about than Parsons. But yeah, he's not getting a Paddy Pimblett fight. The best he's got to get is fucking Blood Diamond or something like that next.
Yeah, all the tweets I seen before the fight was Johnny Parsons is the worst fighter to be signed to the UFC in recent memory. So
yeah, I don't know about the very worst, but he's definitely one of the most random. He lost a guy that was like 16-10, and like the last guy before he got to the UFC was this guy who was like, I think, almost negative record up there, beat with a head kick. It was a really fucking weird signing, and even his Contender Series fight was considered like a bad decision against Shulman Renfro. So yeah, but I don't know what to make of Johnny Parsons, to be honest.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think he can make lightweight, because he said he'd fight Paddy at lightweight. He almost missed weight in this fight. So I don't know how he's going to manage to pull that off. His call out was also interesting with the haircut. He mentioned Paddy having a stupid haircut.
that had to be ironic. There's no way he's that unaware of what the fuck's on top of his head to say that about Paddy. I don't know. That had to be a joke. I hope it was. If it wasn't, then some deeper issues with Johnny Parsons going on there. But no, I think he was being ironic. Hopefully, at least for his sake.
Yeah, he's like he came like straight out of an 80s time warp. So
yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, Paddy looks like he came out of a 1960s time warp. So I guess Parsons is closer to the current times.
You could definitely sell it on the hair, but I don't think Paddy has any clue who he is at all.
Oh yeah, he I think he would have been in the crowd and he still wouldn't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, I was going to say I was waiting to see. I for sure thought they were going to show Paddy's reaction to Molly losing. They definitely would have had his face on camera for if she won. So there's definitely a recording out there of Paddy Pimblett's reaction to her losing, and I just want to see what it looks like just for the sake of it.
Yeah, he probably rushed out of the arena afterwards.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But other than that, I'm trying to think, like, the Ron Murphy beat Coolabou, but like wasn't that eventful. I'm expecting a lot more from that fight. It wasn't bad or anything. I'm expecting just a bit more from it. And like the whole
I was surprised by Kaliber really, like, I don't know, he seemed. I'm not just saying he had an off night, but he really normally he'd be a lot more offensive, but he
Yeah.
seemed to be a lot more patient than normal. And even
If it,
Murphy was a lot more patient.
the typically cool about just a scrapper, just gets it done. Like if he's losing a fight, they'll just bite down and try and make it ugly as possible because that's the fight that he succeeds in. But yeah, it was a bit of an off. It feels like it feels like the entire card was full of just like weird performances, like stuff you don't expect. Like everything that thought was going to go to plan for one guy didn't. Everything you expected to happen in a certain fight just didn't go the other way. Man, it was a very weird night of fights.
Yeah, this was definitely like just a night, like you said, a card full of off nights. Because even Kaliber hurt Lerone Murphy like briefly, and then just shot him trying to take him down. Like, when does Kaliber ever grapple like that?
Yeah, there was maybe a couple of points in the Jordan fight where I feel like I had some grappling exchanges, but other than that, like the only reason he subbed Melsick because like that was just like it wasn't like he was on the ground with Melsick and he eventually worked the rear naked. Like that was like on the feet and then all of a sudden he got his back and got the opportunity there. But yeah, for the cards overall in total, for the expectations I have of UFC London, I feel like the expectations are slowly getting lower and lower for what to expect from the fights. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be staying up late for the next London card because the last two have been really fucking rough.
Yeah,
uh,
obviously there's
the last one before this wasn't too bad, but the Aspinall Blades one was pretty rough.
yeah there was a Joe Alvarez thing with the headbutt with March Casey, where he got up with the headbutt and the referee just didn't stop it and ended up getting choked out anyway. And then they still got the win, didn't overturn it to a no contest, which sometimes they maybe would do. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the refereeing and officiating of like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but other than that, Mark, I'm even thinking back to like some of the earlier fights, like Chris Duncan won, which was good. I picked him to win, but even then I was not confident at all in him winning just because his boxing's really risky. It was good kicks, but the technique's a bit weird, but he's just powerful, and I expect him to wrestle a bit more. So whenever Chris Duncan's on the feet, it's got to be a worry, to be honest, because he's quite wild in the feet. He's even still open. But I was happy to see him get the win. 2 for 2 for Scotland, which is definitely a rarity for us in the sport, but I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
Yeah, I guess it's just eventually they got to do it. They got to do a card in Scotland. Paul Craig versus Hermanson main event.
I mean, the last chance we had was Paul Craig after he beat Krylov. We thought there was a rumour of him versus Smith in Glasgow. That apparently was never true. Apparently the UFC was never planning to go to Glasgow. But now maybe we can get Paul Craig versus someone in the top 10 middleweight, get Duncan there, get Casey O'Neill, John Wood, Danny Henry, maybe sign a couple of the guys coming up from the same gym as Paul Craig. There's a couple of good guys coming up for there. But yeah, they could do a Bellator card. Not a Bellator card, sorry, a UFC card in Scotland.
Who would you match up Paul Craig against next in the middleweight division?
Well, I mean, it'd be different if it was a main event. I'd have to make it someone a bit better of a deal. But if it's just another fight at middleweight, it would want to be another grappler. You would want like the Hermanson fight is just interesting for that purpose alone. But outside of that, like I don't know, man. It'd be good to see him versus like Chris Curtis, just to see the takedown there. Chris Curtis got really good takedown defense, and the striking would be really risky. So that'd be a proper test for him at middleweight would be him versus Chris Curtis. But yeah, him versus Hermanson, him versus like Brendan Allen maybe for grappling as well. But good to see though. But yeah, it's weird to think of Paul Craig at middleweight against the guys at middleweight. It's so used to thinking of Paul Craig at light heavyweight. Thinking about fighting any of these guys at middleweight feels so alien. Now that's a reality that we've got to live in and think about whatever's going next because he's just won and he's in rankings now on Tuesday. Will be at least.
Yeah, it's really weird to imagine him against these guys at middleweight, considering the massive size like discrepancy between Paul Craig, like, him versus Chris Curtis. Like, just imagine them in the cage like against each other. Imagine how big Paul Craig's gonna look.
Yeah, and Chris Curtis got a filled out guy, but yeah, Chris Curtis I think was a welterweight for a bit as well. But yeah, he's got a weird man. I don't know how I feel about him going forward, but he proved me wrong on this one, so I'm up for just picking against him going forward and him just keep proving me wrong. I'm not against that at all.
I would love to see in the future a Paul Craig versus Hamza Chimaev matchup. Just if that goes on the ground, that would look so fucking like that'd be ridiculous.
I know he's released now, but we could have gotten Paul Craig versus the Roland win. I just would have loved to have seen how that would look, but he got cut a while ago.
I know that would have been great. Or even if Kelvin was staying at middleweight, imagine Kelvin Gastelum versus Paul Craig.
It just doesn't seem right, man. Like, you picture Paul Craig against any of the guys at the top of middleweight. It just doesn't seem right. But now he's actually there and it's possible. It's going to be interesting, man. There's a lot of that because he'd fought a lot of guys around him at light heavyweight. The only guys kind of around him that he hadn't fought were like Span, I guess, were some of the guys hadn't fought. But other than that, a lot of the guys around him in that 10 to 15 area, they'd already fought before. So now it opens up a whole new kind of guys who can fight in middleweight, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm really glad he won because this brings a lot more interest to the middleweight division. Like, no offense to Andre Muniz, but after that Brendan Allen fight, you know, I think he lost a lot of hype.
Definitely, man, because getting submitted as well, that was kind of the mystique of him. He was the jiu-jitsu guy at middleweight. He was the guy to challenge Izzy and get him gripped down, just like Hermanson was. And before that, it's like none of the jiu-jitsu guys at middleweight seem to get to the top to even prove that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it just shows the middleweight grappling skill set as well. I think because Paul Craig comes from light heavyweight, I think the light heavyweight grappling skill set's a lot better than middleweight. So I think his skill set transitions a lot better than a lot of the middleweight guys.
Yeah, even when you look at guys like Krylov and that, quite good jiu-jitsu as well, and like Jan Glover as well, obviously at point, Jan's got a decent ground game against strikers. He gets the flicks on them. But I mean, look at what Jan did to Izzy, and he's even considered a grappler. So, no, I definitely agree on that.
And then what do you reckon they do with Andre Muniz? Who do you think they match him up with?
Probably won't be because it'll probably be either just like 15 or maybe get moved out the rankings. So it probably won't be someone ranked. So I mean, you could do like Vinicius Rodolfo Vieira, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, Brazilian versus Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. You do that. Or maybe do that in the card in November. Maybe I don't know if that's too soon for Muniz, but I could see him doing that.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting matchup. Oh, the two jiu-jitsu prodigies that both got subs by
True.
by people you would not fucking expect them to get subbed by.
But other than that, I'm thinking there was the Irish girl, Shauna Bannon, who proved to be a bit more, I don't know, just didn't live up to what I thought she was going to be by what I heard. I did not watch a single one of her fights. I just took the word of the Irish MMA fans that she was going to be something big. And I was a bit disappointed, to be honest, with what happened.
Yeah, I actually haven't got to rewatch that fight because I heard that she just looked very green out there.
She was doing a lot like just point karate stuff that just wasn't landing at all, and she was getting tied with head kicks and all the time. It's not the best look though, but I mean, and she ain't that young either. I think she's actually getting close to 30 as well. So the women's divisions is a lot more risky when you're coming up and you're getting in your debut and you're very old. But, you know what I mean, very old considering.
Yeah.
Division, know that.
Woman
but,
MMA standards.
Yeah, so she might have to make a quick turnaround because she didn't take a lot of damage, but she might need to get back in there soon if she wants to become anything in the UFC.
Doesn't seem like any of these like hyped up women mixed martial artists like who debut they don't really seem to win lately. Have you noticed that?
I'm trying to think of like the last like Haregi was one of them, but then fucking Haregi just lost as well by brutal fucking KO. I'm trying to think who lived up to the hype recently. I can't even think of anyone, to be honest.
Besides, like, I guess Erin Blanchfield's the last person I can think of.
But even in her debut, like, she wasn't that hyped up coming into the UFC. It was after she beat Maverick. People were like, oh, she out-wrestled Maverick and stuff quite easily in short notice. But coming into the UFC, I don't think there was that much hype around her, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, it seems like with women's MMA fights, it's just you fucking can't predict how any of them are going to end up doing this. Like, it's a fucking gamble and a half.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might just pick Grasso to beat Shevchenko, to be honest.
Might as well.
I'm feeling it, man. I don't know. I don't know. I probably will go because I was thinking that with Nunes Aldana, but I just settled with Nunes as well, just to play it safe. But I think I might just risk it and go Grasso again by decision or something.
Well, Grasso was winning on the feet as well when they were fighting, and she beat her at grappling, so it's like...
Yeah, and Shevchenko's getting up there as well. Shevchenko's like 33, 34. She's getting up there.
If Grasso does win, it definitely keeps the division a lot more interesting. Because if Shevchenko wins again, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's like nothing changes.
Because she'll probably just retire as well after that as well. She's not that fight, but she'll probably beat Grasso and fight someone else and retire. So we're right back to where we started. You know what I mean? So there's no point for really even winning.
Or even maybe Shevchenko will move up to a bantamweight now that Nunes is gone.
No, but women's bantamweight went from Nunes being the only thing about it to care about to I honestly don't know what they're going to do with women's bantamweight now because there's nothing to care about that division at all.
The only thing that was interesting me was that talk about Ronda Rousey coming back, but apparently that's not even true. So
I was going to say, apparently that's completely made up now. Apparently that's not even true. So outside of that, like, does anyone have any interest and Raquel Pennington getting a title fight in 2023. Like,
against
as a
Julia
fan, like,
Adesanya.
yeah, none again. I actually kind of like something about. I've always kind of liked Raquel Pennington. I don't know why, something about her, but like as like fan interest, no one's going to care at all.
Yeah, especially because they'll probably end up main eventing a pay-per-view as well. Like if it's a
Yeah.
fight night main event, then yeah, that's fine. But if that ended
Yeah.
up main eventing a pay-per-view, then
And outside, like, who have they got coming up? We've got like Damon and Josiane Nunes. Like, who have they got coming up to like replace the next wave? Because a lot of them are old as well, like Yana Santos and stuff like that. And like Aldana's older than Nunes is. Like, they'll all be gone soon as well. So I don't know what they do with that division when these girls all leave.
and will Nunes even be able to make women's bantamweight?
I don't know. I don't know. And she's old as well. I don't know. So I don't know, man. They cannot keep women. They cannot keep women's featherweight. They cannot keep that division, man.
Yeah, it's already Demont already has been told, so she's apparently moving down to bantamweight. But for the other like bigger like women's featherweights, I feel really bad for them.
God knows what we'll do without Daniel Wolf and Zara Fern in the UFC.
I know
don't
the
know what
UFC might just fall apart.
That's them losing the biggest assets, man. That's cutting the UFC right out there, leaving them with no hope left if they lose Zara Fern and Daniel Wolf. God knows what we'll do. I'm sure we'll survive somehow, but tough thing to be an MMA fan, I thought.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Like they're the two biggest draws in the company. Like that.
No,
Might have to like bring Conor. We might need to rush Conor McGregor in there because with them two out, there's no $1 million pay-per-views this year.
we might need to start doing super fights then. We can do McGregor goes back to the featherweight to fight Zara Fern or Thanos. I think that's what we need to resort to be honest.
What's even happening with McGregor? Like, is he fighting Chandler or not?
I think he'll fight Chandler, but I don't think anything's guaranteed with McGregor anymore. I think he'll fight Chandler in December. I think that is what will happen in the end. But if it doesn't happen, I won't be surprised at all, to be honest.
Yeah, either the thing is either way we're either getting a Conor McGregor pay-per-view main event in December or we're gonna get fucking Raquel Pennington versus Pena main event in the December card.
And there's no between on that either.
Yeah. Or we get a weird fight where it's like Jiri Prohaska versus Johnny Walker for the vacant belt.
Oh god, I don't know, man. I'm not really sold on Johnny Walker getting a title shot, to be honest with you. But I guess there's not really a lot of other options if you want.
Because like if Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira have like a fucking war, they're not going to be able to turn around quickly. And I think the UFC are going to want to get a light heavyweight champion as soon as possible.
Yes, a weirdly inconvenient time to be an MMA fan, to be honest.
Yes.
Really, they're going to put it in
So we might literally get a Johnny Walker title fight. And could you imagine if like Jiri's not 100% and fucking Johnny Walker gets that belt wrapped around him?
Yeah, there's some guys who they just don't feel like they should be at championship level. And Johnny Walker's a guy who will always just feel like the guy who's like 9 in division, 10 in division, wins one, loses one, gets Johnny Walker, and then comes back against someone else. But I don't know, him as champion, we just feel like, got to be a regression as a sport.
Yeah, no, and especially because of all the memes that there is of like him being fucking knocked out cold by like Jamal Hill and Corey Anderson. It's like,
yeah, we can't have Bellator get a win over us. We do not want Bellator having a guy who's got a win over the champion by KO.
Corey Anderson he never shut up about Glover, like because him beating Glover and when Glover becomes champion. Do you imagine him with Johnny Walker, like someone he like completely fucking destroyed?
Yeah. I know. That's honestly that's one of the things I always think about before giving someone a title shot is how can this affect the Bellator fighters and if they can get a bragging rights win over us. That's why I was so annoyed with Glover being champion all the time because I knew Corey Anderson was always going to have the over us, and that was annoying.
Yeah, I always think about that with Michael Chandler fights. It's like, damn, this guy lost to Patricio Pitbull, like
and Brett Primus.
Yeah, like this guy lost to a guy who just fought for the bantamweight championship in Bellator.
Yeah,
and he has a win over Dan Hooker.
Yeah, and he's consistently been at the top of the division since he came into the UFC.
It's weird to think about that Dan Hooker, beat like a massive guy like Jarlin Turner and then lost to Michael Chandler.
Yeah, no, that was a weird because that was a point where I picked Dan Hooker to beat Chandler because he was coming off the Pori fight, and I was like, damn, Hooker is a fucking savage. Because people forget that period he went on, Dan Hooker was a top contender. Like, the Hilder fight and shit like that, he was considered a top guy. And the way Chandler beat him, did not see that shit coming. I thought he was going to kill him with like a fucking knee up the middle in the first round, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought that was like an easy Dan Hooker fight, and then immediately, well, not immediately, but like 2 or 3 minutes in, boom, fucking bomb from the gods.
I know, man. I know. If there's anything else you want to talk about, I have to get going soon. If there's anything else you want to cover, I've got time, but.
Yeah. We'll talk about some more stuff. Yeah, I gotta go soon too. I gotta fuck it. I've been up for like fucking 23 hours.
I got about 6 hours just about last night, but yeah, other than that, right. One last thing then. So because it's next week, what do you think of Poirier versus Gaethje 2?
I'm thinking. I think Gaethje's gonna take it. Honestly,
I've got Poirier, but I'm not convinced either way. Bonus. I'm not going Poirier definitely. Nah. I could be swayed either way, to be honest, but I'm going with Poirier.
I think just because Gaethje trains at Evolution, fucking at altitude,
elevation. Yeah.
Elevation. Yeah, sorry, my brain's not working too right now. Yeah, elevation, because he trains at elevation with like Usman and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna have the much better cardio in this fight, and also I think he's like. I think he's taking his career a bit more seriously than Dustin is at this point. Like, he took that fight against Fiziev, and like his cardio looked really good. He's built some muscle as well. Like before, Gaethje was like pretty undersized.
Yeah.
And a bit weird that he's put on muscle and he's also gained cardio. But anyway, I think just motivation and all that sort of stuff, and just it being at high altitude, I think he's gonna win. It's gonna be a fucking war at least, I reckon.
Yeah, man, that card has taken some hits, but I'm still excited for the card, man. You've still got, like, the main card is still top to bottom, completely interesting fights. I'm excited for every single one of those main card fights, definitely. Like, Pereira Blachowicz, man. I might honestly be more torn on Pereira Blachowicz than Poirier Gaethje, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my main event, that fight there. I still don't know who to pick because honestly, this is going to be like a hot take, but I could see Pereira, if Pereira like grappled, I think he could just hold down Jan if he really fucking wanted to.
Maybe early, but like the way I look at it is, if Jan gets down Pereira, I don't see Pereira getting up unless it's the end of the round. I don't know if Pereira techniques his way back up and gets a sweep, or maybe early, very early, because he's supposed to be a big guy early. And back up at light heavyweight, that could be a different thing. Pereira light heavyweight in the UFC, maybe probably middleweight, you never know. But if Jan gets him down, I could see past the full mount, ground and pound, or arm triangle, something like that. But on the feet, honestly, I don't know, man.
Honestly, I think if either of them decide to grapple, they'll win because neither of them have very good get-ups and takedown defense. So honestly, if one of them decided to grapple, they could probably just take the round doing that. But if it stays on the feet, I don't know. Jan's like got some really like strong bone density. Like his kicks, he might be able to actually go leg kick for leg kick with Pereira, which most people can't. But he might actually give Pereira some problems.
Jan's got fucking like built for kicking feet. The fucking way his feet are fucking built with the bones sticking out at the top. It's fucking weird, man. He's built to take kicks and that and dig in with the top of his foot. But yeah, man, it's got to be a fucking great card.
Who have you got for this fight? I'm thinking like an upset's going to happen. But who you got for Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa?
When it first got announced, I was thinking Chiesa, just a boring like half guard simulator. But honestly, I think I'll pick Holland like knee to the body, Darce choke. You're hot with a knee to the body, Chiesa will shoot in and Holland will just Darce choke him, or you'll anaconda or something.
Honestly, yeah. If I was actually thinking, if Holland's going to win anyway, it's going to be a submission because
Chiesa gets, Chiesa's a grappler, but he's subbed all the time.
Yeah, I actually picked Vicente Luque to beat him by submission, which turned out to be it really helped me on verdict because it was like massive odds for him to sub him, and it's just a trend that happens in Chiesa's career. If he fights any like good striker, he somehow just always gets fucking subbed.
Yeah, but be fair, like Holland does have a decent ground. Be fair, Holland does have a good game off his back, and he is a decent jiu-jitsu guy. Fair, it's not that unlikely to get it done as well. Same thing with Luque. Luque's got good jiu-jitsu, but it is definitely a con team with his career.
And Holland did impress me against Hamzat, like only on a day's notice, and he was actually getting up from Hamzat. He was like surviving. Obviously, Hamzat still beat him and everything,
Yeah.
but like Chiesa isn't Hamzat. Chiesa's not that big compared to like a Hamzat Chimaev, former lightweight. And he didn't, he didn't. It's not like he went out there and he couldn't like big brother Sean Brady. So he hasn't really big brothered anybody since he's moved up to welterweight. Besides RDA, who's a former lightweight. So, and I guess Neil Magny, but Neil Magny's also not got the best takedown defense.
Yeah, that I forgot about. I think, man, that was 5 rounds. Just literally Magny not being like out from the Chiesa. So
Yeah, that fight was just. Yeah, that was horrible. That was 2 a.m. My time. I'm thinking, why the fuck do I watch this?
I think that was on a Wednesday. Is that one of those random Wednesday cards?
Yeah. It was. It was a weekday card. I actually want them to bring them back.
Yeah, it was decent, man. Like, because it was always a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. They never really getting a week off. They would be like a full UFC week. That's pretty good, man. Just getting a little midway UFC card. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, especially because it was that card during the middle of the week, and then I think it was McGregor versus Poirier too, which was that was like a cool week of UFC.
It was Holloway, Cater, then Poirier, McGregor too.
Yeah, that was a sick back to back to back events. Although the Magny Chiesa card wasn't the greatest. Oh, the biggest memory I have from that card was Wally Alves upsetting Munier Lazez.
Yeah. Or don't forget about Ike on the waiver, KO and Vinicius Moreira, and like the fucking featured fight for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Well, meanwhile, Mason Jones, Mike Davis was buried within the card, along with Umar Nurmagomedov was like the first 2 fights of the card.
Fuck yeah, that Mason Jones Mike Davis fight was insane.
And it was a really good fight, man. I still stand by the fact that Mason Jones should have won that fight, though. Obviously.
Yeah, I think I thought that Mason Jones took that as well. Which Mason Jones was meant to have a fight in Cage Warriors, wasn't he?
He's fighting next Saturday in Rome in Cage Warriors.
Oh shit! Awesome.
He's fighting this Brazilian guy called Alexandre Ribeiro. He's not that good, but it's a short notice and they got him for. But he's fighting next Saturday, Cage Warriors Rome.
Maybe we'll get a future matchup with Mason Jones and Dean Barry in Cage Warriors.
I hope so, man. I don't Dean Barry. Don't get me started, man. I was about to leave. I was about to go and you get me started on Dean Barry.
Dean, we have to talk about Dean Barry's fight today in Titan FC. What the fuck?
I don't know, man. Because I was up for what was on last night. I was watching the Cage Wars thing. I was up for Cage Warriors, and I stayed on, and I was like, "What's on Fight Pass?" Anything was on, Titan FC was on, and I was like, "Oh, Dean Barry's fight." I watched Dean Barry's fight. I only noticed halfway through the fight that it was a fucking kickboxing fight and not an MMA fight. I didn't know that was a thing, but it was a kickboxing fight. I didn't know that. And then he broke his leg or something early on, and he gets finished with a spinning back elbow against the guy that was 1-2. I don't know what went on there, man.
And on top of that, he physically he just looked awful. He looked overweight. And this was a guy who was talking about running through Mike Jackson and then moving down to featherweight. I don't think featherweight is fucking even close to within reach at this point in his career. He missed weight as well to add to that. He missed weight at welterweight, which I think he was meant to fight at 160 or something like that as well in a catchweight bout, and he missed weight by 18 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, he's gave himself quite a bad reputation, even with the Irish fans. There's a thing going on with him in one of the gyms in Ireland where something happened there. So I don't know, man. Yeah, Dean Barry's not giving himself the best look though.
Yeah, I don't know what he does. I don't know what his end game. What does he want to make? Because he's 32, 31 years old as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's early 30s, I think.
Yeah, so it's he needs to. I don't know. He needs to fucking sort his shit out if he wants to be in the UFC again.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. That might be a bit far from the future, but maybe he can pull it off. If Angus Stewart can beat an 8-0 guy in Cage Warriors, then anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, never say never, but when you're fucking struggling with Mike Jackson, then maybe yeah. I mean, I guess Yeah, his ceiling. You know, when you're struggling with Mike Jackson, you don't have the highest ceiling. But he was like a world champion kickboxer, wasn't he, or a karate champion or something like
Yeah,
that?
karate. I think. Yeah, because if you're watching fight, he's got a fucking karate stance. You know what I mean? It's like pure side on. All he throws is like side kicks and that. So yeah, I think he was a karate champion.
I remember a lot of the Irish fans hyping him up when he was about to debut against Mike Jackson, saying he's like the Irish Wonder Boy, which
Yeah,
he
not
was
quite.
winging
Not like
overhands. He was winging overhands against Mike Jackson. Like,
I don't know how he's stopping Mike Jackson when to be honest. That is a free win, but I don't know how he messed up.
like he did win the fight. Like if we're being honest, like he knocked
Yeah.
him down and he was on the way to finishing him, but he like fucking he put his fingers right in Mike Jackson's eyeball.
Yeah,
He was
and
fighting
kicked
with
him in the
prison
dick as well.
rules.
Spinning kick to the dick.
Yeah, he was fighting with fucking prison rules in there against him.
I know. All right, well, man, I was going to say I'm going to go. I'm going to watch this Misfits card with the fucking fatal 4-way main event, which
Oh,
I'm actually fight for, and Alan Belcher versus Chase Demore
Chase
as well.
Demore. Yeah, I've got to watch that because I put out a video saying that Chase Demore is going to get killed. Like he's
Yeah,
going to get.
I don't know about that thing, man. That's definitely interesting, but yeah.
He's 0-2, and he's
Yeah.
now fighting Alan Belcher, who's 5-0 in boxing. He's like 3-0 in bare knuckle, and you know he KO'd a bunch of people in the UFC.
Be actually good guys in the UFC as well.
Yeah, if Chase Demore wins, then no MMA fighter should ever box again. That's what I'm going to end this on.
Nah, definitely, man. But I was good, man. If you want to do something else again, any like the predictions or something like that, or like a reaction to a card, or if you want to get on a fight or something, we can like do an interview with a fighter, depending on whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
I'll
for
be good
sure.
for them.
Next time we do this, I would definitely be a lot more lively because that card fucking took a lot out of me. So yeah, it would be good. It'll be good.
It's just difficult to try to get a time period that's like fitting for both of us, for us both to be fucking up and awake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
No, definitely. Right. No, man, the unofficial Commonwealth connection of MMA is upon us, man. You got to take notice.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, fucking, this is a new era, you know. The future is right now.
100%, man. Come together. We can fucking take over the MMA scene. Right before MMA Guru hits 100k and takes off the beanie, we'll swoop in and fucking take the spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the end days, you know. The Guru's beanie's coming off. This is the set of a new era.
And then we fucking emerge from the fucking shadows and come out. Yeah, but yeah, man. Like I said, just fucking DM me if you want to do anything else again. I'm fucking free all the time. All I fucking do is fucking sit about and train whenever I'm not training. I'm just sitting about watching MMA, waiting for somebody to ask me about something about MMA. Say, man, I'm available a lot.
Yeah, no, easy. I'll give you a message. We'll do this soon, especially when I'm a lot more lively. I'll be a lot more alert and everything. But yeah, you enjoy the Misfits card. I'll probably give it a watch too.
Man, in the bar, man. Yeah, honestly, it's not I like here, but I don't sell a few. But yeah, man, I like it, man. Honestly, though, good stuff, man. I actually enjoyed this. If we can keep this going, and there may be something there you never know. But no, man, I'm definitely up for doing more of it, man.
Nah, easy. Same here. All right. Well, you have a good one.
Nah, in the bar, man. You enjoy.